Yes, team, what is up? And welcome to today's YouTube. Today is a sit down one. I feel I haven't done one in a while. I'm just going to be talking to you directly, sharing some insight into the month I've had in May. And yeah, just sharing a few lessons with you that I hope you will find valuable as well. So, month of May overall has been a good, productive month. We're actually sitting at June 1st today. So I feel like gives me a nice recap into how May went. I have a lot of clients sharing their wins in our community today. So a lot of clients achieving very, very big months in business. And actually FitPro CEO had a PB month. So exactly 3 years in business. And we had a record breaking month this month. And something I always like to say is like, if you focus on your clients winning, you're going to win as a byproduct. And that's something I've always put a lot of attention to, or at least I suppose a lot of focus on that. For me, if I know clients are winning, like I'm going to win as a byproduct, and that's always where I have been as a coach. I've always been the one who wants to deliver at the highest level. I even say to clients, like sometimes I could hear a new, strategy for business or whatever, like maybe a new update that's on Instagram that's going to help things from like a lead generation or a business perspective. I always get more excited to tell clients about it than to implement it myself. That's just the way I naturally am. I just want to, help them as much as possible because I know if I'm doing that, if they're winning, as I said, I'm going to win as a bright product. So that's really, really nice to have that, have so many clients winning this month and also to see us win. And I think that probably moves me onto a next point, which I have talked about before, but I think it's a really, really interesting topic to discuss because I feel there can be times and moments in your life where like using different fuel sources makes sense. So I think initially when you're kind of going through the process of growing your business, you're trying to prove yourself. You have a chip on your shoulder and you're pushing with things. When you get to a certain level of success, that fuel source is going to diminish a bit because you are starting to prove yourself. People are starting to congratulate you. You're seeing yourself at a level of success. So there's some people who will try stay there, and there might be a lot that they have in their life and a lot of struggle they have that they're gonna stay there. But like for something that I've experienced, I turn way more towards, yeah, I'll have a lot more positive energy going into the business. I will, yeah, just enjoy like I can be a lot more present. I can enjoy what's happening. But with that, naturally, you may not be as hungry and relentless as someone who is like driven by pain and working very, very hard. That's not what I want. Would I swap with them? Absolutely not. Like I'm very, very happy to be growing a business in a way where I can be super proud of it. I can be super fulfilled and I can actually be excited about the idea of progress and moving forward. That being said, even though I am like that, there's some times where, if you can take some fuel source that is going to make you execute a bit harder or whatever, then take that on board. So, something for me I was able to do at the start of May or kind of into the end of April was there was some like negative fuel source kind of going towards me. Something that I had a few things that I could decide to do. I could retaliate, which I didn't want to do. I could just stay quiet about it, which I did do. But I could stay quiet about it and actually use it to my advantage. Someone said something to me yesterday, Alistair, and because we were actually talking about the subject, and he added the line that anything that happens to you is always a good thing, or something along the lines of that. But basically, if a good thing happens to you, if it's good, it's good. If a bad thing happens to you, make it good. Like it can also be good, but that's up to you in terms of how you do it. So I was able to do that into May. So there's definitely a bit more of a spring in my step, let's say, in terms of how I was pushing. And yeah, we had a PB month off the back of it. So what I'm trying to say to you is you can move and adopt into a new way. But if there's some times where you can kind of tap into other fuel sources, which can drive you on a bit more, then do it. But it's also knowing how to pull yourself back out of that as well into the probably the place that you want to be like continually growing the business for, because that's not some place I'd like to stay or a place that would be realistic for me to say, if that makes sense. So yeah, then something else that like springs to mind to share with you is actually a conversation that I had with a guy who was in university with me. So we'd have done sports science undergrad. We both went on to do masters separately, But that sports science undergrad would have been up until 2018. So seeing him this year, I wouldn't have seen him for 8 years. And he came up to me. I was actually like working away in a coffee shop. I didn't recognize him. He sat down, and we wouldn't have even been that like close previously. But in, I'd say, the space of like under a minute, like he was already opening up and being vulnerable, and I was doing the same back to him quite soon after, about like, you know, kind of regrets he had from university, about maybe he felt he like stuck too closely to one of his friends he knew from before university, so he never like socialized as much as he could. So like, how interesting is that, like meeting someone from 8 years on and being able to like reflect on that person and who was like in that chapter of my life, and being able to kind of like reflect on things I would do differently. He's also opening up about, you know, ex-girlfriends of his he had in the past, where he would have left the relationship because he was kind of afraid of, there was some like avoidance he had there, and like afraid of commitment, and he was like self-aware and opening up about that. And we were just having such a good conversation back and forth about like different things in both of our life. And I was like, how nice is this when you can speak to someone and neither of you are trying to prove anything? Like, I'm sure everyone listening can think about a point in their life where, you know, you've been talking to someone and all they're doing is trying to impress you, and you're like, shut up, I don't care. Like, it's the worst. Like, who cares if someone comes up and they're like, oh yeah, I did this, I did this. It's like, no one cares. So why do people think they have to show up in that way? Like, for me, it's, you know, being able to feel like I can have a real conversation, like a genuine conversation with someone. We're not trying to, someone's not trying to one up me or make me think that I think they're great or whatever. We're just having a really good conversation, and the connection you can get off that is amazing. So I think if you can build yourself to a level where your confidence in yourself is that you can have a conversation with someone and you don't feel like you need to prove yourself because you understand your worth, that's a really, really powerful place. And that's something I would put a lot of pride in me, I think, in being able to do. I think, you know, even I never feel like I have to, even if I'm around like guys or whatever, I never feel like I have to be the loudest in the room. And I think I've like had to develop that over time of, you know, knowing to be a bit more grounded in terms of how I am and how I operate, just because I don't feel like the need to be anyone else. And I think that's a good position to be in. Another big area we've been obsessing over this month is within ourselves and helping clients being able to find their own voice. So you'll often think about like a unique selling point for you for your business. And for me, the unique selling point is taking out the S, it's the UP, it's your unique perspective. People in the industry are very much just like copycatting others. They can't think for themselves. They just look and be like, hey, I better do this because everyone else is doing recipes, or I better do this because this is the trends. And don't get me wrong, sometimes content where you're looking for initial awareness that you know works, amazing. But when you get people into your world, how are you going to separate out? Like, if they're following 10 coaches and they're following you and you're all posting the same stuff, what is it that's going to separate you from them? And that is your unique perspective. There's going to be beliefs that are in the industry or old beliefs that you have. Your delta principle is the gap between your old belief and what your belief is now. And if you can articulate that to your audience, you can talk through the tension you went through with that old belief, the flaw you saw within it, the cost that was causing, and then the realization you've had into the new belief and the proof that the new belief is a lot better. That is super, super powerful. Now you're not just showing up as someone who puts out educational content, you're coming from a place of experience that you have your own thoughts, perspective, and the right people are going to align into that essentially. So yeah, May has been one of those months where there hasn't been a lot on from a calendar perspective, but I feel in terms of depth and growth and being productive and actually just like connecting with people, it's been amazing. Conversations that I've had, one-to-ones that I've met up with people, and we've had amazing conversations. So it hasn't been that month where there's this big event on or something specific happened. It's been weeks where I've kind of gone through it and I was like, that was really productive, got a lot of work done, had nice conversations, built some nice connections, and for that it was a really nice month. Definitely not one to write home about with loads of memories. So what I wanted to do instead was just kind of give you a sit down, talk through kind of where my head's at. I think it's really, really interesting, isn't it? As business owners and just humans, we'll always kind of have kind of things that we're thinking about in life. And I suppose just for you to kind of get an insight into me in terms of like where I'm at right now, the different things that I'm thinking about that I'm finding interesting. Just something I like to share because I like always to be kind of like constantly evolving my way of thinking, and I think as coaches, as friends, for me being a brother, being a son, these things that it's important to constantly try to improve your worldview and evolve it. And that's where I'm at. Just things outside of the normal business coaching sphere. So yeah, hope you liked it. June brings a few weeks away, which I'm really looking forward to. Definitely think it's needed after a big May put down. And I'll be back in Dubai mid-June for about 3.5 weeks, where we'll be going to the Portugal Mastermind. So head down for that. So yeah, very, very excited for the next few months. If you made it this far, really appreciate you watching. Would also appreciate you to click subscribe for videos coming up. I'm trying to be super consistent with them. I think we've hit a video a week every week this year, bar one. So even this video today could have been one that I left off and pushed off, but I was like, no, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to record it. So hopefully you appreciate it, hopefully you enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one.